Hi everyone, welcome back to Nirja Education. Today we are going to discuss the second chapter of 9th standard, Is Matter Around Us Pure? This is the last video of this chapter. In this chapter we are going to discuss the crystallization method. This is another method to separate the heterogeneous mixture. Already we have discussed different methods to separate the heterogeneous mixture. This is also one of the method by which we can separate the heterogeneous mixture. This method is used to separate a solid from a solution. Solid from its solution we are using this crystallization method. We are using this method to separate a solid from solution. So we will discuss an example how we can do the crystallization method. In crystallization method we will get the pure crystals of the substances. Whether we want to get a solid crystals, we will get the pure crystal of that corresponding solid. Here we are going to make a copper sulfate solution. First we have to get the copper sulfate crystals. How we can make the copper sulfate crystals from its copper sulfate solution we will discuss next. To get the copper sulfate crystals from copper sulfate solution, first we have to take the water. That water should be in lesser amount. Whenever you are doing the crystallization method, you have to take the solvent in less amount and the solute in larger amount. Then you will get the pure crystals of this copper sulfate or any other substances that you want to make the crystals. It is very interesting and it is very beautiful also to see the crystals, how it is forming, and the crystals are also very nice to see. Okay, so first what you have to do, you have to take the water in a beaker, and already I told you that should be in less amount. That water you have to heat, otherwise you can take the hot water. Then that hot water you have to add copper sulfate, solid copper sulfate. Copper sulfate solute you have to add to this hot water. You have to add the copper sulfate up to that point so that the copper sulfate will not dissolve in this hot water. You have to stir it continuously and you have to add copper sulfate up to that point. After that the copper sulfate will not dissolve in this water. That means you are making a saturated solution of this copper sulfate. You are making saturated solution. Already we have discussed what is saturated solution. So you are making a saturated solution of copper sulfate. After that you can filter it. You can filter the copper sulfate solution. Then you have to keep this copper sulfate solution almost 24 hours to cool down. To cool down you have to keep this copper sulfate solution. So after that you can see the pure crystals of copper sulfate. So you will see the pure crystals of this copper sulfate. Now this is the good method to get the pure crystals from its solution, because the salt that you are getting after the evaporation, you know that evaporation is also a method of separation. So after evaporation you are getting the salt from seawater. That salt contains so many impurities. To get pure salt from this salt, we are doing this crystallization method, and there is some more advantages of this crystallization method over filtration and evaporation. So the advantage of crystallization over this evaporation and filtration is that during evaporation the substance may decompose. There is a chance of decompose or it may be charred. Suppose you are taking sugar, when you are heating it without the solution, the solid directly you are heating means it will be charred. It is changing into black powder. So we won't get the pure crystals at that time. Or in some cases it may decompose, it may change into another substances. Chemically it will change. That is one of the drawback of this evaporation method. When we are discussing about this filtration we told that in crystallization we are getting the pure solid. The solid will be in the purest form. In the filtration the problem is that the contaminated substances or the pollutants or the substances that we want to remove from the solid may dissolve in the solvent. In solution itself it will dissolve. So it will be difficult to separate that that pollutant or that contaminated particle from that solution. So these are the disadvantage of this filtration and evaporation. But these disadvantages will not be there for the crystallization method. In crystallization method, we are getting the pure solid, purest form of solid we will get during this crystallization method. Next, we are going to discuss the fractional distillation of air. Already we have discussed what is fractional distillation. Now we will discuss how can we separate the gases from the mixtures of air. For the separation of the components of air, we are using the fractional distillation method. So first what we have to do, we have to wash the air, the mixture of air, we have to wash using caustic soda. Using caustic soda, you have to wash the air. Caustic soda means it is NaOH. Why we are washing? To remove the dust particles present in the air. The mixture of air means it will contain dust particles also. To remove the dust particles, we are washing it with caustic soda. The other name is that, the chemical formula is that NaOH. So another important thing is that if the carbon dioxide or sulfur contents are there, it will react with this NaOH. It will react with NaOH and it is chemically changing into another components. Suppose carbon dioxide is there in the given mixture of air, then what will happen? It will react with sodium hydroxide and you will get NaHCO3. That means sodium bicarbonate you are getting. If sulfur contents are there, you will get sodium sulfide. That means it will change chemically, the carbon dioxide will change into some other substances. So this is the reason why we are washing with this caustic soda. After that, what you have to do, you have to compress the air. After washing the mixture of air, you have to compress the air. Why we are compressing the air? You know that when you are compressing, the particles of the gases will come closer and it will have a tendency to change into the liquid state. Now the temperature is high. On the screen you can see the arrangement of this separation of mixture of air. So you can see the air compressing tank. So there the compression of air is occurring. After that it will pass into the cooling chamber. Next, near to that structure is the cooling chamber. The air will allow to pass through the cooling chamber. So what will happen this cooling chamber? You are increasing the pressure and you are lowering the temperature. When you are lowering the temperature, the gas will change into the liquid state. The gas will change into liquid state and this will pass. Now it is in the liquid state. The gas is changed into the liquid state. Now the fractional distillation of these gases will change. Now all the gases you are getting it into the liquid form also. You know that how we are doing this fractional distillation. You are heating this liquid and after that one by one we are collecting the different gases in different chambers. Fractional distillation method already we have discussed. That is why I am not going to explain it detail. So next we are going to discuss about the water treatment plant. Water treatment plant means at your home you know that you are getting the filter water. How you are getting this filter water? We will see how you are getting the pure water at your home. How this the filtration is occurring, that we will see. In water treatment plant mainly 3 steps are there. They are following 3 steps. The first step is sedimentation and the second step is filtration and the third step is chlorination. So what is sedimentation? You know that the water will pass into a sedimentation tank. In sedimentation tank what will happen? All the heavy particles or all the heavy impurities will settle down. This will happen in the sedimentation tank. After that the water will pass into the filtration tank. Here filtration, sand filtration they are doing. What is sand filtration? Sand filtration means different layers of sand will be there. Gravel, sand, coarse gravel, like that. Different layers will be there. Why these different layers? Suppose the impurities are there in the water after sedimentation also. If light particles or something is there, it will be there in the water. So when it is passing into the filtration tank, what will happen? The water will pass through the sand filter. The water will pass through the sand filter, different layers. I told you that the particle size will be different in the sand. You know that small particles, then again gravel size will be little more, and again coarse gravel. Like that the layers are there. Thus particles except water will stuck in any three layers. Any three of the layers, the particles or the impurities will stuck, and the pure water will pass through this sand filter. That is the working of this sand filtration or sand filtration tank. After that this will be passed into the chlorination tank. Chlorination tank, chlorine gas is passed through this water to kill the bacteria. The chlorination is used to kill the bacteria present in the water. After that the pure water is supplied for the household purposes. This is what happening in the water treatment plant. Mainly three steps are there: sedimentation, filtration and chlorination. Next, the last topic of this video, that is the physical and chemical change. Already you have learned this in 7th and 8th standard. We will have a quick review of this, what is physical change and what is chemical change. So physical change means if the change occurring in the physical state of a substance. Physical state means it may be the states of matter from solid to liquid, or it may be the color, appearance, rigidity, all that comes under the physical properties of matter. Already we have discussed the physical properties of matter. So if suppose the changes are occurring in the physical properties of the matter, then it is known as physical change. The interconversion of states of matter. Ice will change into a liquid form. That is a physical change. We are tearing the paper. The composition is not changing. The size is decreasing. The bigger paper is changing into smaller pieces. We are changing. So that all are some of the example for this physical change. And chemical change, when we are talking, the chemical nature is changing. We are getting an entirely different things after this change. Such change is known as chemical change. I told you that tearing of a paper is a physical change, but when we are discussing the burning of paper, we are getting the ash. It is having all the property different from the paper. So that is an example for chemical change. So that is the difference between this physical change and chemical change. I hope all of you have understood the topic that I have discussed in this video. Thank you all and have a nice day.